Hello everybody, Maven here. Now I normally have face cam during my intros, but not today. There's no time for that today. Arc 3.0 just came out an hour ago and I hopped on immediately, and I've been having so much fun with the Arc Titan, specifically the Touch of Thunder aspect. This is a thing that I was looking forward to the most, and it is quite ridiculous, and you'll see what I mean later in the video. But first things first, let me tell you, there was a build in mind that I had for this going into Season 18, but it kept warping and getting more and more ridiculous because there's something that I'll show you in a sec. But first, let me tell you about my original idea I had for this video. So when this aspect got shown in the TWAB, I saw that pulse grenades were going to create ionic traces among damaging an enemy. That's what stood out to me, because that sounds pretty ridiculous, because for those who don't know, ionic traces will refund some ability energy. So when you throw that pulse grenade, it's going to give you some grenade energy back, and that sounds awesome. So I was thinking about pairing that with the armamentarium, which gives you additional grenade charge. And when you pair that also with bountiful wells, which makes your elemental well mods that create wells stack. So when you pair that with double elemental ordnance, when you get a grenade kill, it's going to give you 3 elemental wells, which is going to give you another massive chunk of grenade energy back on top of the ionic traces, allowing you to endlessly spam pulse grenades. Sounds ridiculous, right? Well, it is, but it keeps getting crazier. So I decided to do a little bit of experimentation with the brand new storm grenade on the very bottom. And this is one of the most ridiculous things I've seen in this game in a long time. It says after detonating, it creates a thundercloud that tracks nearby targets and fires bolts of lightning at them. So let me show you what that looks like here. So a normal storm grenade would end right about there, but it just keeps on going and just firing bolts of lightning for a super long time, and that storm cloud is going to roam around the area and track targets and just keep zapping them. And with this build, this gets quite ridiculous, as you'll see later in this video. So before we get to the build, if you are new here and you enjoy Destiny 2 PvE and PvP weapon testing and builds, then you've come to the right place, because we do that a lot here. So consider liking and subscribing. And with that, I'm going to show a little clip of gameplay with this build before I explain what the heck is going on with it. So let's get to it. Hope you enjoy. So to explain what you saw there, we were able to spam those storm grenades back to back to back. And that's not only because of the Bountiful Well mod paired with the 2 copies of Elemental Ordnance, so that we make Elemental Wells whenever we get those kills, and then we get a huge chunk of grenade energy back. That's not the main reason why. And no, we're not using Armamentarium either. The main reason we're able to spam like crazy is because of Heart of Inmost Light, probably the best exotic in the game. So this thing, when you use another ability, empowers your other 2 abilities. And now this is where the brand new Thruster Titan Dodge ability comes into play. It has the fastest cooldown out of any class ability in the Titan. And not only that, but it deploys itself so fast and effortlessly. And also that's just going to empower the grenade, and then when you throw the grenade, it's going to empower the thruster, and they're going to charge each other even faster, and the grenades will do more damage. So it is quite ridiculous for grenade spam. So for my primary weapon of choice, I'm using the Forgiveness Sidearm with Demolitionist and Adrenaline Junkie, because Demolitionist is going to give you a lot of your grenade energy back when you start getting kills with it. And then Adrenaline Junkie, when we get that grenade kill, it's going to immediately proc Adrenaline Junkie times 5, giving us a 33% damage buff. And that is going to stack on top of Phantom Might that we have in our boots. So when we pick up those Arc Elemental Wells that we're constantly creating, it's going to give us a 25% damage buff to our Arc weapons for 11 seconds, making it so that we have, what is that, like a 60% 10% damage buff. It's quite ridiculous. It starts slapping really, really hard. And then we can also give that Font of Might buff to our Anarchy. And for those who don't know, heavy grenade launchers got a 10% damage buff against bosses and majors this season. So Anarchy is also slapping very hard again against bosses. So really good for melting things. And then you can just shoot a couple shots of Anarchy in them and then swap to your slug shotgun. I am pairing this build with the Heritage because we're doing some heavy ad clear, making it so that our recombination is going to hit really, really hard when we pull our shotgun out. Good for some burst damage. And speaking of burst damage, our super choice here is going to be the Thunder Crash, but you can really use whichever one you'd like. And on to our fragments. This is what really makes our Storm Grenade ridiculous, because Spark of Shock says that your arc grenades jolt targets, making it so that they're going to chain lightning to each other, making the Storm Grenades even more crazy. And then on top of that, we have Spark of Magnitude, so that our lingering grenades, aka the Storm Grenade, will have an extended duration and linger around and shock enemies for a longer time. So these two paired together make these things ridiculous. And then on top of the empowered buff from a Heart of Inmost Light, these things do so much lingering damage to a boss. It's like you shot 2 shots of Anarchy into a boss, but it's just your grenade. And then for our additional fragments, we got Spark of Discharge, so that our arc weapon final blows have a chance to create an ionic trace, giving us some more ability energy back, and that's really good because this is an ability spam build. And then we have Spark of Resistance. While you're surrounded, you have some damage resistance. It's not a lot, but hey, resistance is resistance, so I'll take whatever I can get. Now, I would just highly recommend pairing this build with any arc primary that can get Demolitionist and Adrenaline Junkie together, because that's ridiculous. However, something that's going to be very meta this season is going to be the Forbearance Grenade Launcher, because there's this fragment here. This is when you're amplified, your special weapon final blows are going to blind enemies, and a blinding Forbearance sounds absolutely ridiculous. And if you use the Forbearance, then that is going to allow you to have Traveler's Chosen in your kinetic slot, which is going to be able to turn into an arc weapon because of its osmosis ability, and also, as you know, it's really good for ability spam. And we have an additional way to create grenade energy here through having Harmonic Siphon on our helmet, so that our rapid final blows with our arc weapons are going to make an orb of power, and when we pick up that orb of power, we're going to proc double innervation on our boots, giving us some extra grenade energy. So that rewards us a little bit for using our primary, which Crucible players could learn from. And last but not least, we're using Seeking Wells on our chest so that those elemental wells will track towards us, making them easier to obtain. And later on in the season, once we all unlock Lightning Strikes twice, it's probably going to make this build twice as ridiculous. It says that after throwing an arc grenade, you get increased grenade recharge for a short time, and arc final blows are going to extend the duration of this benefit, making it so you can spam those storm grenades even more than you already can. And then also Trace Evidence is not going to be bad. Defeating combatants affected by arc debuffs like Jolt, which we are doing, it spawns an Ionic Trace, making it so that we can get some more ability energy back. So these kind of do a similar thing, but I assume Lightning Strike Twice is going to be the more ridiculous one. That's why this one costs 7 and this one costs 4, so you can't run them both together. Bungie knew that would be broken. Now for the rest of the video, I'm just going to show some gameplay with this build so you can get a little bit of a feel for it. Now I will link the Dim loadout in the description and in the pinned comment if you want to try this build out for yourself, but note that Dim is a little bit clogged right now because the season just came out and everyone's out there having fun with it, and you know, Dim's running a little slow because there's too many people on it right now. Anyways, as the gameplay is playing out, I'll just do my outro here. So thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to hit that like button and leave a comment. Those 2 actions really help the algorithm and the video's performance, and if you are new, consider subscribing. And as always, if you have any ideas of how to improve upon this build, feel free to share your ideas in the comments down below, and feel free to leave some feedback and suggestions. And with that, I'll catch you in the next video. Peace out.